Hello students, this is part 2 of the 3-part series on how to create the flashlight, just from the sketches that we created in class. So, last drawing what we did was we created the coil or the spring for that. This time what we're going to do is the body. The sketch that I'll be using as a reference for the sizes is this one here. So you can see that the outer diameter is 1.3 centimeters or 13 millimeters. Total height is 3.5 centimeters, and then we've got some distances here where the knurling starts, then there's a gap, and then it starts again, and then there's a gap, and then there's a thread. So it's a little bit more involved, this drawing. I'm not going to worry too much about that base section yet. So let's get started. First thing we need to do is we want to create something that looks like this. So we need to draw on the base plane and then modify by push-pulling that tube all the way up. So here we go. Start by creating a sketch using a circle, center diameter circle, and we're going to draw on the ground plane again, starting at the XYZ origin point, and we're going to type in a distance. Whoops, I'll just change that or dimension that so I can see what size it is. 17. We want to change that to 13. Okay, so I'm going to zoom in, make that a little bit bigger. There we go. And I'll just pan that down a little bit so it's easier to see. Then, after creating the circle, we want to offset that. So that's the outermost point of our tube. We're going to offset this point by selecting the outer line. We're going to go in 0.4, and then we're going to do the same again for the inner part of the tube. So offset, select this one. This time we're going to go 0.5 in, and I'll just dimension that just to make sure I've got the right size here, and that's 11.2, that's the correct size, so we want to keep it at that. Right, I'll go over to the top right corner now, and we'll change that to a isometric drawing. Now, we want to give the base of the torch a little bit of thickness, so we're going to modify. We click on the inner circle, and we're going to drag it up a distance of actually let's make that 0.8 of a millimeter. The nozzle thickness of our 3D printer is in increments of 0.4, so 0.8 is a good thickness. Then notice how our sketches disappeared there. So we go over to the left hand side, the light bulb is turned off, meaning that that's now hidden, so we'll turn that back on so we can see it again. Now we want to do the total height of our torch now, and we know that the total height, looking at that drawing there, is 3.5 centimeters. So you can see here 3.5 centimeters, so 35 millimeters. And then we've got to do the knurling, and it's got a gap, and then the knurling gap, and then the thread. So let's start off by doing the total section here. So we're going to modify. We're going to choose that ring. We want it to be over here. We want it to be 35 millimeters. I'll zoom out now, and I'll pan that down. So what we've got is our tube. That's the total height. Right, next thing we want to do is we want to do the knurling for the base. So we're going to go again to modify. We're going to select the outer ring, and we said before that the total height, if I just bring that across so you can see it, total height here is going to be 1 millimeter plus another 6. So a total of 7, and then we'll just push that base up a bit. You'll see what I mean soon. So I'm going to do a distance now. Distance is going to be 7. And you can see there that it's done the solid piece. We need to modify that because it's not actually touching the base there, so we're going to modify again. We're going to choose that ring, and this time we're going to push it up 1 millimeter, like so. And then what you've got then is that bottom section removed. Alright, the next step is a little bit tricky. What we have to do is create a new plane. So we've been drawing on the ground plane at the moment. We're going to create a new plane here, and then we're going to offset that. So in other words, we need to offset it a distance of 2 millimeters. So from here to there. So I'm going to move that away. So we're going to construct an offset plane. We're going to select this surface, and we're going to offset it a distance of 2 millimeters. Alright, so what we've got now is a new plane. We're going to draw on that plane. So we're going to sketch, create a sketch on that plane. And this time what we're going to do is we're going to draw a circle. Same thing again. So we're starting at the origin. We want to go to the very outside. And then we want to do another circle. Center diameter circle, same thing, origin. This time to the middle circle. And we're going to stop the sketch. So what effectively we've done is we've created a little ring that's 2 millimeters away. Now we need to modify that. So we select the ring and we're going to push pull it a distance of 1.6. So if you have a look here, 1.6. So we've created a ring here. We're going to push that up 1.6. So I'll type in here 1.6. Sorry, made a mistake. Go back. I'm going to modify that. It's not 1.6. It's actually 16. So what we've got, if I zoom out a little bit, there, now we've got that correct. So it was 1.6 centimeters or 16 millimeters. Alright, so we're going well so far. Now what we need to do is we need to put a thread on this section here. So you can see here we've got a thread and it comes down 0.5 of a millimeter. So just move that across to the side again. What we have to do then is we have to create a thread, and the thread is going to go on that surface. Now, what you'll probably have, sometimes you have this selected, that's a full length thread. The thread goes all the way to the bottom. We don't want that. We want to take that off and we want to select modeled. Modeled keeps it realistic, so it's going to take that section away. We want a length of 5, so that worked out well. If yours is different, then you can change it. So say for example, if it was 7, you can see it comes down further. So we just want 5. We don't want any offset, that's good. 12 millimeters is great. That's all looking good. So 12 by 0.5 millimeter, and we click OK. So what we've got there is our finished piece, and we're done. A challenge I'll set for you is if anyone can work out how to put the knurling around the outside of that section, then you'll be doing very well. I'm just going to change this here. So we've got here the bodies. Body 1 is that whole section there. I'm going to change that to, I'll just call it, instead of body 1, body flashlight. Okay, and enter. Alright, I'll turn off our sketch. That gets rid of that little one that was down there. And what I'm going to do now is I'll just add a material. So I'm just going to modify, change the properties of this material. Going to make it a metal. Go down to a colored one, down to here somewhere. There's one down here somewhere. There we go. Make it red. Drag that across, touch it on there, and then we'll minimize that. Right, so we've got a red light, a red body of the light there, and we're going to render that. And what you'll see is then you get a realistic or photo image of that. And we're done. So, thanks for watching.